Good day, all good day. Um, I know it's been a while. I haven't been up here, I'm thankful to see another day, right? And we just gonna jump right into the conversation. Today we're gonna talk about expectation, right? So many people have expectations for other people that is in their surrounding, whether it's family, friends, or whomever. But the very first question I'm going to ask is what is your expectations of you? What do you expect from yourself? Whether it's, you know, being around people, whether it's uh, uh even if it's setting a goal, what are your expectations of yourself? We have that tendency to keep looking outside of ourselves and expecting people to have to reach situations and reach goals and reach dreams of our reality. But in reality we must have expectations of ourselves. We must expect something from ourselves in order to receive that common ground, that common goal of reaching the goal that we have set in play, right? So so what I did is I separated the two, right? So we're gonna go and look at these two differences, right? The definition to expect is to wait for or to await or to look for or to look forward to as to something that is believed to be about or happen or come or to come or to have a previous apprehension of whether good or evil, to look for with some confidence, to anticipate, often followed by an infinitive, sometimes by a clause with or without, that as I expect to receive wages, I expect the troops will be defeated. Right? That is what you expect. The expectations is similar. The act or state of expecting or looking forward to an event as about to happen, that which is expected or looked for. The prospect of the future, grounds upon which something excellent is expected to happen. Prospect of anything good to come, especially of property or rank. The value of any chance which depends on something contingent or a event. Expectations are computed for or against the occurrence of the event, right? So we see that one is a verb. To expect is a verb, right? Most of the time, if we going to expect something, we have a thought. We have a process of a picture in our mind to where we are seeing or and we are seeing something in hindsight, and we are putting that into action to where we are going to make that a dream or a goal or something to that expect, or something to that instant, right? And as expectation goes, it's more of a noun, meaning we have the idea, we have the thing, right? And now we are waiting for that thing to accumulate and to occur. So this is where we have the conversation of, what do I expect? As many of you know, I had the idea of starting this channel mainly because I didn't see anybody doing or having these types of conversations, whether it was spiritual, whether it was, encouraging, whatever it was, I didn't see anybody do it. My expectations, my what I expected was somebody to, I expected somebody to see that we can no longer say that nobody is has that idea of not doing or being encouraging or being, you know, uh caring or compassionate or whatever the process was at that beginning. I seen so much chaos that I decided that I need to. add to a not to a problem, or come to a solution where now there's nowhere else, you can't look nowhere else. You don't have to look far, as far as having somebody that's compassionate, caring, encouraging, so on and so forth. So that's what I did. I expected that people would tune in, but my expectations was, that people will understand what the goal is, what I'm trying to do, as far as you know, adding adding to a safe place, making this a safe place where people can come and listen and understand exactly what I am saying, and build a safe space for other people. Build a safe place so people can say, if I do need to talk to somebody, I understand that he's going to be there. I am expecting him to be there. I am expecting him to give me his ear to listen to whatever I'm going through, right? But we have to understand, a lot of the times, we no one can put more expectations. No one can expect more from you than you, right? We should know our limitations. We should know how our highest heights. We should know how high we can go, as far as our everyday uh values, or our everyday situations, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. We should understand, we have to understand what our limitations are. But we cannot just keep going out there expecting other people to have. We can't go out there to expect people to do certain things that we won't do ourselves, right? I can't. For me, I have so much. I expect people to have high caring values. I expect people to have good morals. Why do I expect that from others? Because I have that for me, right? I have high patience. I have high tolerance. I have high I don't want to say understanding, but I have a grip on what I can do. And a lot of the times we project our expectations of ourselves on the other people. But even with that being said, we have to observe who are we around. Just because like-minded people are supposed to gravitate to you, it doesn't mean that those that gravitate to you are like-minded people. Meaning, some people may gravitate to you because you know they want to see your downfall. They want to see Scorp. Good afternoon. They want to see you. They want to see if you slip up, if you change character, if you uh alternate your thought process from being that good person or that bad person. It ain't nothing, Scorp. It's the same old, same old. Um, and those are the things that we have to look for in ourselves. Can we be consistent? Do we expect ourselves to change at the drop of a hat? Do we have the patience of 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 maintaining ourselves? Do we expect people to understand us even if we don't understand our own ideas, our own thoughts, our own process of coming to a solution, right? We have to understand all of that within ourselves. And we can't just keep looking outside of us for validation. We should expect, we know exactly what the goal is. We should expect the understanding of what our intent is on doing certain things in our daily lives. Like I said, I expect people to hear something realist what's going on, to hear exactly what my intention is. And now that I have displayed that the intention is for people to expect my consistency on my talking points on a daily basis, right? I can't just come up here and say, you know what, we need to manage ourselves in decency and in order, and then turn right around and become a chaotic being, because that will throw off the expectations, not only with those that are viewing what I'm doing, but the expectations of me, because now I am coming out of, I'm outside of myself. I'm being a different person. I'm not the person that I normally am. And so that would throw my expectations of myself outside of the window, just to meet certain aspects. That's not what we're here for. We are expected to be who we are on an everyday basis. So if you are a person that is compassionate, that's what we expect. That's what you expect from yourself. That is your aim, your goal for everyday basis, right? If I talk about sports, I am expected on Mr. 33 to be consistently talking about sports, even if it leads to a everyday life situation. I would have to go over there and say, you know what, I have to apply what we're even talking about, even if it's a life situation, into a sports topic, a sports conversation. Why? Because there is the expectation that I am talking about sports with Mr. 33. Here I am a little bit more entailed, right? Because I consistently talk about, the elevation of understanding, the elevation of self. And a lot of that time I expect people to understand that because of my consistent talking points, the conversations that I have. If I tell you to go ahead and look through the videos that I have, even though it may be a lot for one person to understand or view, you will see the consist. Well, if he talks about something else, that will be a little bit different, because you will be expecting me to stay on topic of what I normally talk about. Lisa J, good afternoon. Um, you would expect me to talk about encouraging somebody. You would expect me to tell somebody, hey, everything is going to be all right. You know what, you are a blessing, or so on and so forth, because that is what I expect of myself. We can only project what we know. And if well yeah if what we know, and if we know that we are who we are projecting what people should expect from us, because there is elevations, right? You go from a thought to expectations to knowing. We'll touch the knowing part another day, but right now we are expecting that thought come to a reality, right? If Lisa J comes on and tells us, I am expecting this stock to elevate because of A, B, and C. If we are in agreement with her, we are looking forward to that that stock to elevate, because that's her field of her knowledge. That's what she knows. She deals with that situation every day, right? If we talking about battle rap, we would have realists come on. We would expect realists to give us the information. Well, this one is talking about that one, and I understand the beef, and I think this person won because A, B, and C. He is expected to know that, because that is what he knows. When you love something, you have a knowing about it, right? So when you know it, you are projecting the expectations that people will understand what you are talking about. So those are the things that we as individual must understand. What do we expect from ourselves? What are we expecting, you know, as far as us coming up here to have a conversation? Now, we know that people come up here with the expectation of just having views, and people, you know, like their stuff. I want people to like my stuff because they are expecting the sincerity of the conversation, the genuineness of me being that person coming up here and truly trying to see the best in people. That could be annoying, that could be sickening, that could be all of those things. But that is what I just know that people can do that. Now, will people gravitate to it? It's another story. But those that come and view it, they may have an expectation of what I am talking about to be, it may work. If they imply what I'm talking about into their lives, if it works, they're gonna expect more understanding and information from me. This is why people like Lisa J is highly looked for, because the expectations is she's on the right path. She understands what's going on. She has the proof that what she's saying can actually work, right? Because she did it. She knows what she done, and now it's working in her favor. So when she speaks about finances and stocks and trades and all of those other aspects, people are going to gravitate to her because she knows what she done has worked for her. And if she puts the information out there and if it works for you, you are expecting her to be as accurate as possible. Doesn't mean that everything that she says is going to be correct. Doesn't mean that everything I'm saying is going to be correct. But the expectation lies because we have a belief that Lisa J Stocks knows what she's talking about. We have an understanding that Realist knows what he's talking about. We have an understanding that Scorpio Mama, she gonna go ahead and do what she do. And because she does it a lot to where she is going from believing to knowing, from an expectation of understanding to knowing exactly what she do. And that's what we have a tendency of doing for other, as we look at other people. But what about us? What are we expecting from ourselves? What are we trying to get to know that we can possibly do? Can we reach the highest of heights? Can we can we develop into the best version of ourselves? These are the questions that leads us to go ahead and strive to where we need to go. If you are expecting greatness, you have to elevate yourself to say that I know I am better than what I am today. But we can't just keep projecting what other people should be doing if we're not leading ourselves down the line. Meaning, if we're not growing, if we're not elevating ourselves from expectations to knowing what we can do, how are we expecting other people to view our expectations of them if we're not doing it for ourselves? Hey, how you doing? So we have to really stay on point. We have to really stay on page, right? We got to stay on ourselves to help us to elevate to be the best person of who we are. Cece, what's going on? Um, but that takes time. That takes process, right? We can't expect ourselves to have everything done in one day. I always say, well, I don't always say it. Is an expression that Rome wasn't built in a day. Yeah, I couldn't get the name out right, CC. I'm sorry. I'm all over the place right now. But you know, we have to understand that it's going to take time. It starts with a thought. How do you think? What do you think about yourself? How do you see yourself? Why do you think you can grow into a better person? What is the intent of you becoming that better person? You have to really sit down and really think about how you expect yourself to become the person that you view yourself to be. It is expectation is a forecast of what you are planning to see. Once you plan to see it, now you have to strive on getting there, right? If you have a trip, you leave at point A, you are expected to get to point B. That's how it is in our everyday life. We have to understand, if I want to be the person that I know I can be, I have to travel. I have to go through roads and highways and maybe pay a toll. There is a price to pay when you go in to see expectations, right? You may be disappointed. You know, you have to make sure you have everything you need to overcome a trial and tribulation. If you got a flat tire in your car, you know you have to have that donut in your trunk or underneath your car. However, the extra wheel is underneath in your possession, you must be ready to use it, but you must also know how to change that tire. So too must we change our expectations, because sometimes it ain't gonna go the way that we go. Sometimes it's not gonna go the way that we it's not gonna be a smooth sailing. It's not gonna be a smooth transition to become a better person, a better version of ourselves. But because we know we are trying to reach that destination, we must prepare for any hiccups in our on this road to our expectations of ourselves, right? That's why, you know, it's always good to have people around you. Logical thinker, good afternoon. That's why we must have those people around us, right? I keep telling people all the time, just because we are born alone, we die alone. In between times, you need those people around you to get to your destination. And even when you have that expectation, you need somebody to keep you on that right path. If you don't have nobody on that path with you, sometimes we could deter ourselves. Sometimes we could get sidetracked. Sometimes we could miss a turn and go backwards. That would be stagnating ourselves from the expectation or the belief to elevating us to know where we can go with ourselves and our lives. But if you think you can do this by yourself, I promise you it's going to be much harder for you to reach any expectation of self, because you're going to lean on your own understanding. And if you ain't taking the time to really learn from your surroundings, or learn from the information that is surrounding you, you will stagnate your expectations as well as your growth. And y'all know stagnation kills momentum and it kills dreams. So this is why you have to understand, you have to be prepared for anything. And even in your expectations, you must understand that, yo, I have to be on point. I have to pace myself, because if you go too fast, you may miss the turn. If you ain't paying attention, you might say, I'm supposed to turn off of exit 1, and you supposed to keep going to exit 5, right? It's all about what's surrounding you, what's your surrounding, what's your environment, in order for you to have any type of belief system in the first place. It starts with a thought, but you have to go to that environment of the thought to where the expectation can begin to develop in your life. And if you don't do that, then you just, a living person. I don't want to say a living soul, because some people don't even know what a soul is, but that's another conversation for another day. People is not spiritual, so it's not a spirit that passes by you, because a lot of people don't know what their inner selves work with. Because even with expectation, you must have a full surrounding inside and out, not the other way around. You must understand that the thought comes from within you. So if the thought comes from within you, the belief has to be projected from inside out and not outside in. We have to reform our ways of thinking, right? And if we reforms our way of thinking, the expectation will have a different belief or a different view, or somewhat will observe the the change in you. I'm gonna say change. I don't like change, because some people change for the worse. I rather say improve. But at the same time, people will observe the change in you, because there's a shift that's going on within you, and because now your expectation is more reasonable within you, because you now understand and believe that it starts with me first. I can't expect somebody to be great if I'm not trying to be great. You see what I'm saying? We must have that expectation within ourselves. Stop looking for somebody to to be that person that you need when you are not working on the person to be attracted what you need in the first place. I need a job, right? If you need a job, you're gonna go ahead and put out applications. You're gonna type your resumes. You're gonna do the things that you do in order for you to be viewed as a capable employee. But if you sitting there doing nothing, you can't complain that nothing is coming to you because you're not attracting what you said that you want. That's the expectation, right? For religious people, they say they're getting closer to God. I say this: if you are trying to draw to the God that you are serving, you must have that. You must clear away the nonsense that's within you. That's why people are supposed to fast and pray, because if you fast, you are taking away from, you are withdrawing the things that you thought that makes you you, and you're trying to get closer to that entity to where you say, you know what, I'm drawing to you because I am pushing the things that I like out of the way. I'm becoming selfless instead of selfish. So when you have that expectation, you're going to make the adjustments that you need to make, because at the end of the day, you are trying to reach the goal that you are that is in front of you, that you are expecting to reach, that is right in front of you, so to speak, right? And without that push, you're not going to see the expectations that you are seeking with sincerity. You can reach an expectation by accident, but you want to reach it with sincerity, because some people could luck up and have that opportunity come in front of them. But when you need it, you're going to work hard for it. You're going to do everything that you can to meet that expectation that you have for yourself. And when you reach it, people will be able to see it, because now it's a newness about you. There is a you are now projecting an elevation from thinking to now believing that you can be all that you can be. And even though there is a higher level to expectation, we'll talk about that another day. We just want you to understand that because you had the thought that you can be that better person, now you are putting it into action by with the expectation. Well, it's expect is the verb. So you expect yourself to get to that higher version of yourself. The expectation is you being that person, because you expect it, you put it into action, and now the expectation is the completed form of the verb expect. So we have a lot of work to do. Whether we understand it or not is another story. Whether we apply it to ourselves, you will see the results of what happens when you expect yourself to be the version that you see, instead of the version before the thought even came to you. There are many people that are just sitting there because they don't care about themselves. This probably won't be for them, because they don't care. They rather just sit there and twiddle their thumbs and kick their feet, because they don't care. But this is for people that understands the expectations of growing, the expectation of elevating yourself. It must occur in order for you to be that better version of yourself. And when you become that better person, you're gonna want to be another version of yourself. You'll probably look at, all right, I made it to this goal. What goal can I get to now? So now you have a new expectation of yourself. But we cannot just keep looking at we can't look outside of us and expect other people to understand us when we don't expect ourselves, we don't even know ourselves to expect other people to know what we're talking about. Their consistency is always going to be on display, whether we understand it or not. Sometimes, if we understand action speaks louder than words, your action is going to dictate what people are expecting from you. But it's only because You hold yourself at a high regard. You expect to be understood when you make the actions that you make. And if you don't understand that, then you are just you like I said, you just living. You're just breathing. You're just alive. You're just existing, right? Because every one of us should have an expectation of ourselves. Every one of us should have a goal on a daily basis. Most people, and this is sad, but most people are just satisfied with just opening their eyes and waking up and being alive. You understand? Like, my 33 brother, if he was here, he would tell you, I have so much to be thankful for, even though, he's losing his vision. He lost the opportunity to see clearly. He don't have a peripheral, but he's thankful that he can see in hindsight where he wants to go. Sight is not just a physical, it's just not a physical thing. It's more than that. And so is an expectation of yourself. It's not just a physical thing. You want to see where you're going, but you must have a vision of how to get there. And a lot of us don't even have a vision of how to get there. We can't even close our eyes and have a positive thought about ourselves because we so stuck in doom and gloom that the expectation of growth is not even a part of our thinking. This is where we need this is where we need that community, that love, that compassion from other people. But you must have love for yourself. That should be an expectation for yourself to start your journey in the first place. You must love yourself. You must know that you can be a better person than what you are now. If you stuck in doom and gloom, you must expect that I can overcome this situation. And once you start making those strides to what you expect, you will become a better person, and then you will be on the process, on the journey of knowing, which, like I said, we'll have that conversation later. But right now, I just want people to understand what you expect of yourself is a thought, and it starts with a thought, and you striving to elevate that thought into believing that I can. That's why that little child story, the little engine that could, he had the thought that I could make it up that hill. I'm at the bottom. If I work hard enough, I can get up to that hill. He believed in himself, and he took this, and he rode forward. He chugged until he made it, right? Now, once he makes it, that belief, that expectation now becomes a cognized, because now he know he can do it. And this is where I'm trying to get everybody to see, to where we can elevate from believing to knowing, right? From the expectation to the cognize of knowing that we can do whatever we set our mind to. But right now, we need to have the belief that we can even start the process in the first place. The thought was the beginning, but now we must believe that the thought can become a reality. The thought must, the thought can be a picture drawn into real life, right? When Scorps has an idea to knit, she has the idea. Now she puts the process. I believe I can do it. Why? Because I thought about it, and now I'm going to start the process to begin the knitting into the completion of whatever I had thought of knitting out. Y'all seen her? If y'all seen her short, y'all seen she had a booth of things that she believed she could have made, and she knows she made it because the completion of that process, uh it's it's it the completion of the process is now on display. So she went from believing to knowing because she expected her to complete that part, because she saw that I have that in me to complete it, and she did it. And God bless her. She went out there and put her thoughts on display. That's the elevation that we constantly talk about when I have the conversation. The thought, the belief, the knowing. If you understand that there's elevation in all three, that's right. You write the vision to make it plain. Logical thinker. You write the vision to make it plain. So when you write it, you know that it's possible. Now that it's possible, how do I complete this? How could I turn this possibility into a reality? That is what you should be expecting from yourself, to turn that possibility into a reality. because the thought made it, the fact that you thought about it made it possible, right? Now that you made it possible, we got to make sure that we could turn that possibility into reality. The thought, the possibility, the reality. We're talking about the possibility. You have the possibility to become a great person. You have the possibility to become an influential person. You have the possibility to be, someone that could actually help somebody instead of hurting them. And that's just the reality. That's the expectation that you should have of yourself, right? Take those three process. I wasn't looking at it as a trinity aspect, but now that I'm here, I might as well. You start with the thought, you turn it into you start with the thought. You come to the conclusion that it's possible, so you make the steps to making it possible, and then once you see that it's possible, you complete it by making it by completing that possibility, by turning that possibility into a reality. But you must first have that thought. If you don't have that thought of yourself becoming that person you are, you could never meet an expectation. That's as simple as I can put it. And if you don't have that within yourself, then we have to work on putting your mind at ease to where you can actually see that thought, in the first place. Because if you don't see that thought, how is somebody else going to see it for you? It's so crazy that we can see. I was just telling Word yesterday. It's so crazy that we can see the potential in other people, but they can't see it in themselves. Why is that? Because they don't have that expectation that they can be what they have within them. They don't look inside themselves to see what is going on. It's a possibility that you could become that person that you are, that everybody else can see. It's not that we just looking at you because you're a good person. It's just the aura about you, but you may not see the aura because you don't have that outside. You can't see the perspective outside of you. You can't see the expectation outside of you. But if you can't see it within you, that makes it worse. And that's, like I said, that's why you need like-minded people around, or you don't even need like-minded people, because sometimes the person that opposes you will hold you back because they see it in you and you don't see it in yourself, and they will just be a crab in the barrel and keep you down because they see it and you don't. That's why the narcissist is going to continue to use you in the way that they use you. You understand? Because they see it, but they're gonna use it for their advantage and keep you at they will hold you back from becoming the person that you want to be. Now I know that's word specialty, the narcissist and the Machiavellianism and the sociopath. I understand that. He will touch on that in a better aspect than I can. But what I'm telling you is when the people that are opposed of you and they are opposed of you to becoming yourself, they could see what you can't see. They know that you could become that person, but they're going to limit your expectation of yourself. They don't even want you to have that thought. I see you. I see you. So with that, like I said, you got to have that understanding that it starts with the thought. You have to have it in your mind, not just state about it, but it must be in your mind. It must be in the mind frame that you can have whatever it is, that it's a possibility that you can elevate yourself. It's a possibility that you could become a better version of yourself. There is a better you within you. If you don't have that thought, then you won't think it's possible to have the process of the expectation that you need to become that better version. So it is a lot of work. I'm not saying that it's not a lot of work. I'm saying that it is very, you have to see it within you. It doesn't matter what I see. It doesn't matter what logical thinker sees. It doesn't matter what realist sees. It doesn't matter what anybody else sees. You must have that thought within you before you even know what you can be. You must have it must be possible that you have the thought in the first place, that you can be that individual. You can have that expectation of yourself. So I'm telling people to stop looking outward for expectations of others. If you don't know what to expect for yourself, how could you expect something from someone else when you don't even know what you are to receive that expectation? These are the conversations that we need to have. These are the things that we need to build on, because if you keep looking for somebody to validate you, you touching a feeling, but you must have that confirmation that I can make this thought possible. And once you make it possible, you work on completing that possibility. That's just the way that life is supposed to be. Maybe that's just my opinion, but this is something that I apply to myself on a daily basis, and it works for me, right? Am I expecting this to work for everybody? No. But what I can do is I could make this, I can lay out the process to where, if this is for you, this could be your solution to improving yourself. This is the solution for you to become the better person that you always thought that you can be. Now that you have that thought, the process of you becoming that possibility, it may be a slow chug like the little engine that could. It might take you a while to get to that possibility, but once you get to that possibility, you can see that, yeah, I came from the valley. I'm moving up the hill, and then when you move up the hill, you reach the mountaintop, meaning that you have completed the expectation in yourself to where you want to be. And those are the things that we are all striving for on a daily basis. And I hope, I pray. Like I said, I could want the best for you, but if you don't have the thought of the best for yourself, then what's the point of me believing in you when you don't believe in yourself? What is the thought of me expecting something from you that you don't even see in yourself? I can't have that expectation of you unless you want it. Like, you gotta want it. I can't love somebody more than they love themselves. If I love somebody more than they love themselves, then they're not even going to receive it, because they don't love themselves to understand that they deserve the expectation of receiving that love in the first place. They don't have the expectation of receiving the love because they don't believe in themselves. They don't have it in their mind that thought is even possible for them. This is why we have to take the process, the steps. Okay, score. And that's what those are the things that I'm trying to get people to see. Not from it's okay to see it from hindsight, but you must have the vision of it. Period. Um, but it all starts with you, right? We can't, like I said, we can't have expectations of others if you don't know what to expect of yourself, or what you deserve, or what you believe, or just anything involving you. You can't expect somebody to know you better than you know yourself. If you do, then we have a whole nother conversation. We have to elevate your not some would say self-esteem, but I'm gonna just say the worth of yourself. We are all worthy of receiving the things that we deserve, but you must first understand what it is that you deserve in the first place. And with that, that's an expectation that you desire of yourself. I want to be loved. Do you love yourself? I want to be happy. I want you to be happy. Are you happy with yourself? I want good things to happen to me. Are you placing yourself in situations to where good things can happen to you? Right? But it starts with a thought. It starts from the beginning. The thought is the beginning, and then you elevate to those higher goals. And that's all that we want. That's all that I want from a bunch of people. Is that so bad? I don't think so. Do I think everybody deserves it? No, because everybody don't want it. So how could you deserve something that you don't want? If you want it, you're gonna well, excuse me, if you need it, because like I said, a want you're not gonna work for as hard as it is as you need, right? So if you need to be loved, you're gonna strive for it. It's just like breathing. If you know you need to breathe, you're gonna find that oxygen mask if you can't do it by yourself. But if you want to breathe, you all right. I'm gonna just breathe in this carbon. I'm gonna just breathe it in the carbon dioxide, even though I need oxygen. You may be harming yourself, but you must understand what you need and what you want are two different things. So an expectation may be a want, but how do we turn that expectation into a need to become a better version of ourselves? We turn it into a need by understanding once we know that we need it, we have elevated that want into a need. But that's another conversation for another day. So all I'm saying is that it starts with us. It starts on the individual basis. It starts on me. It starts on you. Where do I see myself? Where do I see where do I see myself in the next 5 years? Even if you go about that, you would have to have a thought, which turns into an expectation, and then when you complete that expectation, you're going to make that a need, and you're going to complete the things that you want to reach that 5 year goal, that 6 month goal, that 40-day fast if you doing it from a spiritual aspect, or trying to get closer to the said God. It's up to you though. Is what do you expect? Can you believe that you can do it? Do you expect yourself to do it? Do you have a thought that you can do it? It starts from the thought. Once you get the thought, you start to strive and strive and strive until you get to the completion level. Once you get to the completion level, then you are at the highest of heights. Now you know that your thought was possible because you made it to the knowing aspect and completing the goal of what you wanted. And so, like I said, it takes time, it takes a process, but it takes you you must have that thought and belief in yourself, that thought of the expectation to the completion of yourself. Will you take that time to look at the thought? Will you take that time to even say that the thought is even possible? These are the things that you have to. You on camera? Okay, I see you. There you go. What up, though? Mic check, mic check. But that's all I want you guys to understand. Those three little processes. If
Mic check. Can
I
you hear me?
got you. Yeah, I hear
I might
you.
have to
Go
go
ahead.
down and come back. I'll be right
All
back. Let me go down and come back.
right, go ahead. You must have that process to have that thought. I thought I did wish you happy birthday, Scorp. Ain't I'm a little well happy belated birthday because I know I'm late. I know I'm late because I remember you had the birthday video. You had the birthday video, so I think you had the birthday video. That was before the booth display that you showed. Um, yeah. So once you have that thought, you must make sure that you must believe that it's possible. If anything is possible, you should be striving for that possibility. And once you get to that possibility, you see it. Now you're gonna want a bigger thing, and the knowing will be the next step after that possibility. Mic check. Can you hear? Can you hear?
Mic check. You hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yeah, my bad, bro.
No, it's all right. What's going on?
Nah, man, I woke up at like 10 o'clock and then fell back to sleep. And I popped up like, oh shit. I'm thinking it's like maybe like 11 o'clock, maybe just 12 something. It's like 12:40. I'm like, oh, bro, I'm bad, man. My bad, bro.
No, that's all right. But since you here, what do you think about expectation of self?
I think, like when you talk about expectations, so I don't think too many people put expectations on themselves. Bro, I don't, and I think that's probably the problem. That's why people don't like you use the term evolve. I don't or elevate. I don't think that's why people don't elevate. I think people get content with themselves and what they do, but they most people project. You know, instead of looking for things from themselves, they look for things from other people. So instead of putting expectations on themselves, they expect things from other people. Because when you begin to put expectations on yourself, that's when you begin to take accountability, bro. That's one of the ways we become more responsible and become more accountable is when we expect things from ourselves, but most people don't. They expect things from others. Even the things that's needed to thrive or survive, the expectation is put on others instead of self. That's why people make excuses and justification. Well, this held me back. This held me back. You know. Um, so when it comes to expectations of self, I think people, my opinion, from my observation, I think people more or less don't set expectations for themselves, and then that's why they tend to suffer because now you have to be responsible and accountable.
Mm. And a lot of people don't even understand that without responsibility, how could you hold yourself accountable if you're not responsible for the actions that get you to accountability, right? So this is what I'm saying. It's all about steps and processes and understanding that in order to get to point B, you must have a point A to start from. And for a lot of us, a lot of people don't have that thought that they can be that better person, right? So when people have expectation of others, do you think that they are trying to validate something that they just can't see within themselves? Because you can't confirm something if you don't know it, right? But you can have a feeling about it, and then all of a sudden, try to get on it. So, do you think that people are trying to validate something that they don't see in themselves as far as expectations?
I would so like let me just kind of steal man what you just said. So what you saying is people look from validation from others because they can't expect from themselves what they expect from other people. Is that kind of what you're getting at?
I'm saying that I think they have a thought of it. They don't have the process of believing that they can be them that person that they expect from somebody else. For example, I want you to be great, right? So if you validate me being right, but I can see it in myself, but I don't know how to get there. Do you think that's the process that a lot of people are taking because they can see it for somebody else, but they can't see it for themselves?
For themselves. So basically, they expect things from other people they can't expect from themselves.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So of course, and that's like when we was talking last night. Um, Most people expect things from other people they can't expect from themselves. So it's like, how can you put an expectation on someone else that you can meet yourself?
Mm.
To me, that's asinine, but that's the process most people have. People get in relationships and get mad because I'll give you an example. I was listening to someone yesterday and they expect their boyfriend to do all these things, but when it came to them, they like, well, I'm the queen, I'm the woman, I'm the table. But you got an expectation from him to do X, Y, and Z, but he can't expect you to make a sandwich, to make so it's like you're putting expectations on other people to treat you good, but you're not treating the other person good. And that happens a lot in relationships. Friends like romantic relationships and friendships, people talk about loyalty when they ain't loyal themselves. You know, people talk about, oh, you need to be respectful, but you're not being respectful yourself, you know. So, I mean, I think that's the process many people go through. They expect things from people that they can't achieve themselves.
So do you have so are we would we be in agreement that the expectations that most people are desiring is outside in instead of inside out?
Yet most people expect things that from other people. Like I said, they expect things from other people
Hmm.
that they can't achieve themselves because it's missing within them. So they looking outside themselves to fill that gap when it don't work that way. Because even if it's filled from the outside, it's only temporary. Like if me and you friends, right?
Hmm.
You expect something from me that you can't achieve yourself. When that friendship ends, then you it's missing. You don't have it no more. Instead
Right.
of building it internally, And then that's why I don't, when you hear me say I don't expect nothing from anyone, I don't and when I do place the expectations, there's a clear line of communication. I explain the expectation to a person so they can say yay or nay. Most people put expectations on people and not even aware if the person can meet that expectation. They might not be built to meet your expectation. They might not be equipped to meet your expectation. And most people don't identify that before they even put the expectation on someone. So yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, I just think a lot of the times, um, because of the ways of the world, right? They got everybody looking outside in. And then when you meet somebody that says like, yo, you have everything that you need inside of you, they look at you side eye because they don't have that expectation that is already within you because they've been told otherwise. This is why I'm trying to tell people there's a process, there's a thought, then there's a possibility. And once you meet that possibility, then the completion of the possibility allows you to become the person that you think you can be. As a matter of fact, I'm willing to tell them once you meet it, you're gonna want more because the once you reach that goal, you're gonna see more of yourself as you get closer and closer to the set goal that you have in the first place. What is your thoughts about that?
I I agree wholeheartedly on that. When you place expectations on yourself and you meet them, what that builds is confidence. You know, that builds confidence in yourself. And like you said, you begin to expect more. If I think I can run a mile, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
run that mile, I look back like, dang, okay, I made a mile. I got a little bit more in me, so I think I can made a half a mile now. Then you run that half a mile. And then the next day you run that mile and a half. You like, hold on, man, I got a little bit more. Let me push myself. You know, meeting your own expectations defies your limits. Because the limits that we have, we put on ourselves. Well, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
even gonna say we put on ourselves. A lot of times people allow society to put expectations on themselves. That's why you'll hear me say you like I be having conversations with people and they be like, that's impossible. And what I tell them is don't put your limitations on me. What you're limited in, don't put that on me because I expect more out of myself.
And a lot of the time, I think people have improbable meaning impossible, right? Like it's like it's impossible to reach the sky, like to touch the sky, right? We understand that, but it's not impossible for you to shoot for the stars, right? It's improbable that you reach it, but it doesn't mean that you don't strive for it. Excuse me, right? If you understand that your limitations is as high as the sky, it doesn't mean that you don't strive for it, but you don't put limits on yourself. And a lot of people, they like you said, they put limits on themselves for whatever reason, because society says so. You have the lack of confidence of yourself, or pretty much like I was saying earlier, you don't even have the thought process to see that it's even possible for you to get to that higher self or that higher elevation. And that definitely works against us a lot, because if we can't see it, how are we going to shoot for something that we can't see?
And that's how it usually work out too. You know, people limit themselves through the lack of applying expectations to themselves. Like when I was young, my father used to always tell me, don't use the word can't because if you use that word, you're not even going to try. So when I stopped using can't, it's more like, okay, let me see how I can do it. And even when I failed, yeah, I can't. So I had to try to figure it out. So it left me no option but to figure things out. But if I had an expectation or a limitation, expectation can it depends how it's applied because the lack of expectation gives you limitations. You know, when
Mm.
you lack an expectation in self, you begin to limit yourself. So if you don't expect great things from yourself, how can you possibly identify the greatness within? It's impossible because you don't expect it.
And that's why, a while back we would tell people to have the affirmation words, right? I can, from I can, I shall, I shall, I will. Right? Well, that's what we was talking about when you was doing the chakra series. This is why, you know, they
I
have
gotta finish
people
that.
have to other we have to elevate, we have to understand that in order to grow, there has to be elevation. That's why, I say all the time, a grown person can never grow because they have their mind closed off. And when you have your mind closed off, the thought of you elevating is impossible to see because you closed your mind. And I think that's what a lot of people are doing today. And like I said, that's why people are settling for what they have because they don't have the vision or the thought of saying I can do better, I can become better, I am better. So I just think it's more of an individual basis, which is why I decided to ask the question, what is the expectation of yourself? What do you expect from you? Don't worry about what other people think about you. Don't worry about how other people see you. How do you observe yourself? If you have the thought of yourself becoming a better person, you're going to strive for it. But I don't think it seems nowadays, this is my opinion, that nobody has that vision of elevation in self. And I think you know, that's where a lot of people are, and that's why the way of the world is the way of the world right now because they can't see themselves becoming elevated or let me not say elevated because you can elevate in stupidity. I don't like saying that. You can elevate yourself in craziness, chaos, and mayhem and stuff like that. I just think people don't see them on a positive view of self elevating.
I don't think people think about it. Hey, real quick, my bad. What up, though, realist? My boy in the building. What up, Skort Mama? Appreciate you, Mama Nine. Mo Perspective. What up, sis? Appreciate you, Lisa J. Shout out to the chat, man. If I missed anybody,
Mm-hmm.
I apologize. Cynthia, Cece, what up, though?
Yeah, Cece threw me off. I'm like, who the hell Cynthia? I'm like, wait, I know this name from
Yeah, that's
somewhere. I'm like,
yeah,
that's
Cece. Yeah, Cece. Yeah, old school, bro. Yeah, CTO, that's from day one.
Oh man.
CC, CC from the earlier days, man. Appreciate y'all coming through, man. Good conversation, though, bro. I apologize, man.
Nah, you good, you
Uh,
good, you
man, I
good.
woke up drooling. I was sleeping good. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I was,
I know you had a good night, man,
man.
and that's what I'm saying. Sometimes, because we work so hard, sometimes we don't expect ourselves to have that good moment because we're so busy focused on something else that we ain't even viewing ourselves like, yo, I need to work on, I need to relax because I work so hard on me, or I work so hard trying to maintain my home, my job, my family, this, that, and the third. But we have to have the expectation that relaxation has to be a part of that situation. But so many people are on relax mode that they forgetting to expect that they got to work to get to that relaxation. If they just going to relax, they're not working. So the expectations are going to be a little bit off. So that's why you can take that time and say, you know what, I have that. I need to have this expectation of relaxing because I do a lot for a lot of people, but now it's time to focus on me. But when you don't have, what happens when you feel like you don't focus on yourself?
I become part of the world. I, I, I will become part of the world. And see, that's, I don't, it's hard for me not to focus on self now. But that took time and practice of literally I had to reshape the way I think, bro. But now that I'm in that process, I know when to step back now because I feel it happening. Like literally, I feel it happening. Like when other people's thoughts become mine, then I pull back because that's not how it's supposed to be. I should be able to analyze and evaluate other people's thoughts, take what's needed, leave what's not needed, and move forward. You know, we all supposed to add to one another. I don't feel we're supposed to subtract from one another. And if we do, it will happen. And when that begins to happen, that's when you know you need to get the fuck on, right? When somebody is not making you better and they're making you worse, then it's time to go. That's just my that like when I tell you, be strategical in life, right? And be aware of what's happening, how you feel, and identifying why you feel like that. Once I feel like I'm not focusing on self, then I know I'm focusing on other people. And doing that, whatever your attention is to, is what has a high potential to influence you, right? And I don't believe influence is wrong. It's just the depends what type of influence. If I'm not being influenced to be the better version of myself, then what am I being influenced to be? Someone else. So
Mm.
I step the fuck back. Excuse my French, bro. But yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
step back, bro. I only use, cuss words when I'm emphasizing something, but I'm
Nah,
telling
go
you
ahead,
not to
rock.
take a simple step. You need to jump back, bro, and really evaluate the situation. Like, nah, bro. Why am I focusing so much? Cause like this, bro. Like we all grown, right? I
Yep.
come on here to have good conversations. I come on here, and when I talk about good conversations, to hear something to challenge my mind, to elevate me, but when I come on here and I begin to indulge in the stuff that I don't indulge in real life. Like I don't do drama in real life. I don't
Right.
do it. So when I come on here and I start feeding into the drama, not analyzing it, not seeing what I can take out of it, because even in the drama, even like is let's just be real, it's nutrients and shit, bro. Literally. That's why we can use
Mm-hmm.
it as fertilizer and other things. It's
Mm-hmm.
nutrients in it. So it's good and shit. Believe it or not. I'm not telling you to go eat shit, but I'm telling you you can use shit to fertilize and grow something fruitful for yourself. We do it in real life, right? We take cow shit and we grow mushrooms.
Mm-hmm.
We take human shit and create fertilizer, grow our grass and crops. That's what we do. There's nutrients in it, bro. It's good bacteria and bad bacteria. So everything can be used or utilized. So, but I'm not telling you to go play in it and rub it on yourself and eat it. And I'm not telling you to do that. But you can find good and bad. Like, so even in a drama, I'd be sitting back listening and I can learn like different personalities, like even people, I can understand triggers and stuff, how people can be triggered, how this can lead to that. Like when we talk about cause and effect, but I have to be in a position to analyze, not allow it to influence me, if that makes sense. I don't know if any of that makes sense, but
No, no,
it's
no,
just,
no. No, it makes sense because what you pretty much saying is that when we talk about duality, right? People don't understand that there's duality in a lot of things, right? There's now, I got to say this carefully because people might try to run with it. There's good and bad and good, right? They're going to make it seem like we're being confusion. No, there's duality in it. Like, for example, you said an influencer. Now, a lot of the time, people going to think you trying to influence them to change what they know when you really want them to improve from what they understand, right? Because they only
mm,
see influencer as a negative thing when you try to put the positives, like the positivity in the word influence, they're not going to comprehend it because they don't believe that influencing is a good thing because the ways of the world tells them that if you are influenced, you're doing something wrong. But if you sit down and take the time to analyze it, as you was just saying, you could understand. Well, damn, if I can influence somebody to become a better version of themselves. I can influence somebody to see that there's something positive rather than the negative thing that they only see. To open their eyes to the other side of the negative thing and use that positivity to elevate from it and to grow something else from the situation, right? But because they don't have that, that's what I'm saying. Because they don't have the thought, they don't think that is possible. And if they don't think that is possible, the thought never crosses their mind. This is why, shout out to you, shout out to the 9%. This is why we try to tell people a better you is a better us. Because if you understand, if you just sit down and observe by listening to understand what's being said, instead of hearing to respond to have the debate, you can say, well, I can agree with that. And if you apply it, it may work for you. And if it doesn't work for you, you can say, you know what, I tried your process, but then you might gain something from your own analysis of what being said here and apply it and see that it works. It doesn't matter if you right. It doesn't matter if I'm right. It matters that it is right. What is being said is correct. If what's being said is corrected, no matter how you apply it, if you take it and tinker with it to where you made it your situation and what works for you, then you could do it. It's just like gas. If you use If you use the E85, right? No, most people are going to use the old gas, 87, 89, 91, 93, 95. But if you use the E85, that's the new octave for you to go ahead and drive your car. It's the same process in your thinking aspect. But if you are so closed minded that you can't see any of of this fueling you to become a better version of yourself, of course you're not going to see it, and of course you're going to disagree with us, and then that's when you stop liking the people. As long as it's if it's the idea and not the person that you hate. If the idea works, I'm telling people to use it. The hell with who said it. I If Donald Trump tells me how to make money, I'm not viewing Donald Trump as that person. But if it works, I can say, hey, Donald Trump was right. And I'm using that name because I know a lot of people disagree with him. I know a lot of people don't like his tactic. But if what he's saying it makes you money, are you going to stop? Are you not going to use it because he said it, or are you going to use it because it's an asset and not a liability? These are the questions that I want people to view as far as going forward with the expectations of themselves.
Hey, he was cooking, bro. I forgot what I was about to say.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you good, bro. You was cooking, man. You was cooking. You put that chicken in the grease, bro. You ain't put it in the air fryer. You put it in the grease, bro. But not, but yeah. Even like when I was saying like how you can take the good out the bad. The way I do that, and I'm not saying this is the end all be all, but the way I analyze, you have to be emotionalist, bro. When you observe things, you can't attach emotion, no biases. You have to be open minded to everything and just see what exists. It don't matter how you feel about it, it exists. You know, so like even when we talking about like when you do that, this is the benefit you get out of that. When you just analyze things to understand the existence of it, this is what you get out of it, bro. It takes away um, the emotional cloud of what we expect and accept what is. And by doing so, you begin to see the world for what it truly is, man. And a lot of times, like when we looking at things, it's from an emotional bias. That's how we view things about how we feel about it. So no matter how we don't think it should be, it is that way. And until we get to the point where we can accept things for what they are, we'll never understand how to maneuver or manipulate those things. So even having conversations about opinions and differences and stuff, you know, most people, like you said, they listen for words to debate you about instead of trying to understand or even comprehend your point or stance. Because guess what? Because you think like that, that should exist in the world. You ain't the only person to think like that. So now you begin to understand why things are the way they are. And when people, the simplest things, like the conversation I was having the other night, the
Mm-hmm.
simplest concepts in life become the most complex because of our emotions. And when I say a better you, a better us, that's the way to fix the world, bro. Individually, everybody is not really getting everybody to think like you or think one way is having people think their own way. That's how you
Goddess D,
fix it,
welcome
bro.
in, Goddess D. Score up. We see you later. Have a good day. My bad. Go ahead.
You get people to think their own way. Have a good day, sport. And that's the problem. Most people thinking like other people, and that's why they're unhappy because they're not being them. Internally, those feelings come from inside. And I keep
Mm.
telling people, like, when we talk about our soul, emotions are the language of the soul. That's how we know how we feel on the inside. It's through the emotion. But what we don't do is study and understand those emotions. Most people feel an emotion and act on it instead of identifying why they feel like that. Because it might be an insecurity of yours, but you think somebody attacking you. But it's just simply you insecure.
How much? All right. How much do you think that logical expectation uh it differs from uh Oh my god, emotional expectation. Like, can you
Most
break
people,
that down to
most
where
people
you
think,
that?
most people think their emotions are logic. When people, if you listen to people, people normally say this. This is how I feel. When you ask them about something, well, I feel this way. I feel. They don't say I think this way. So subconsciously, they telling you where this process of thought is coming, and it innately happens. It innately happens. So, like, even most people expect other people to take care of their emotions when it's no one's responsibility but your own.
Mm,
That's one of the most, in my opinion, detrimental expectations you can have is having other people responsible for your emotions, thinking that they're supposed to cater or be benevolent, be nice, and they don't have to, bro. People are people, man. They go do what they do. So I can only control me. So that's what I'm saying. Unless you have expectations in people, especially, I'm not saying that you're not supposed to have expectations in people, but what I'm telling you is you have to be responsible because the expectation is like, I didn't catch the beginning, but I see the definition. So, like when we say words, right? Words
mm-hmm,
are expectations. Words, if I say I love someone, they assume that action is going to follow, right? So every time we say words to people, it creates an expectation, and people be waiting for whatever the words accumulated to happen. So if I say we friends, you gonna be feeling good, assuming or waiting for me to show friendship from your ideology, from your own expectations of what a friend should do, right? But me and you might have different concepts of friends. So
mm-hmm.
even if I say me and Gary friends, we never clearly communicate what a friend is or how we think a friend is. I'm gonna put an expectation on you that I created, and it's gonna be from an emotional standpoint. It's not gonna be from a logical standpoint. It's gonna be from an emotional standpoint. You gonna put expectations on me from the same aspect. But now if we communicate, the expectations become more logical because now I'm understanding your concept of friend, you're understanding my concept.
Um. Okay. So, right when you say that, right, I'm like how we was talking about things being inside out, right? So this is the best time for me to say, like, if I'm your friend now, right? Now I have to project. For me, this is my understanding. Maybe I might be a little bit off. I have to project that I am a friend. I know how to be a friend, so that must mean I have to be a friend to myself. So if I love you, right, I have to show that I love myself enough to know how to love the other individual, right? That's the time that projection is it. That might be one of the few times that projection may be the aspect of a good aspect of viewing something, right? Because if you love me and you don't love yourself, how the hell could you love me? If you respect me but don't respect yourself, excuse me, how could you respect yourself? And this is what I'm saying about expectations, right? If somebody is viewing me, right, and I'm telling them how I feel. They have to see it within me, and if it's not being on display, they're gonna have a different viewpoint from me. So what I'm saying is that you got the people are going to see and view if you understand what you're really saying by the actions that you're taking or what you're going to project from yourself. If you don't have that within you, you can't say that I love you when you don't love yourself. You can't say I care about you when you don't care about yourself. You can't say that, yo, I'm your friend when you're not even being a friend to yourself. If you're not taking care of yourself, how could you take care of somebody else? That's the expectation that somebody outside is looking inwards towards you, but it's only because you have to project it in that manner. If you don't, there's gonna be not a disagreement. It's going to be a different view for a person. They're not going to believe you because you're not putting on display what you're trying to say that you have. I hope I said that right. I sounded confused saying it, but you know what I mean. But what I'm
That
saying is, you don't have it. You can't if you don't project it, they can't see it within you. And if they don't see it within you, how is somebody going to have that expectation that you know what you're talking about? That's what I'm pretty much trying to say.
so I want to build off of what you just said. So I'm gonna use myself for an example. So when I observe people, I use what I call an open expectation because, like you said, people will show patterns. I'm gonna give you an example. Say if I observe someone not taking up for themselves, right? I'm gonna have an open expectation, meaning I expect this to happen, but I'm open to change. If I see something different, then I will observe it fairly. I won't discount it. I will understand why it's different from what normal patterns are or behavior is. So, say if I have a friend and I don't see them taking up for themselves, I'm go have an open expectation that they won't take up for me. But then somebody, do something to me and then they take up for me. I had a friend like that, and I realized like he didn't love himself enough. Like he was looking for love on the outside, and I gave it to him. So he felt the reason he was so defensive of me because he felt like somebody was taking that from him.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
now I understand. Like, okay, he ain't willing to fight for himself, but he ain't gonna let you take something from him that he love. He appreciate that. He
Oh,
ain't gonna let you take that from him, but he ain't gonna fight for himself. it's
yeah,
it's people like that. So that's why I
yeah,
say
it
it's
is.
important to be open minded because everybody built different, bro. Some people will take up for themselves and won't take up for you. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
They fight for themselves, but they ain't fighting for you.
right,
Everybody got different
right.
reasons to make them respond or react.
It's
Everybody got different triggers.
it's more
We
of a
all different.
selfish act than a selfless act.
hmm So people do the same thing for different reasons, bro. That's what open mindedness. That's the understanding it gives you. Because people think like you can't lust and love at the same time, right? Those two different things is either one or another. But I can lust for the love, and I can love the lust.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That goes back to the duality of a thing, right? Because just because they opposite, it balances out because you're gonna need one to understand the other and vice versa. But
hmm
when you don't have that expectation of understanding what's involved with that situation. You're only going to see it from that one-sided view. When you're not objective to see your expectations, you you don't have a clear visual. It's like you only got tunnel vision on your expectation. But if you have the peripheral of an expectation, it's a wider view. It allows you to get to different aspects at different times. This is why I tell people you got to come out of your old frame of mind, because as long as it's there, you're not going to see the newness of a new way to get there. And as long as you're doing that, then you're going to be stuck where you are, and that's not going to help you. That's going to hinder you and not help you.
Yeah, man. Everything is a tool, bro. Like it's a divine principle or universal law. There's one divineness. Everything is interconnected. And like when you look into Buddha, it'll show that like everything exists within itself, right? We say above, so below, so within, so without. Everything is interconnected. We just got to put the pieces together. But so many times we put ourselves in a box. And when you put yourself in a box, yeah, you got a lot of fun stuff in that box, but there's also a lot of things outside that box that connect with things and make things work effective and efficiently, but we exclude it because we put ourselves in a box. That's why I don't do that in no aspect. I know physically what I am. I know what colloquially what I am. I know how society look at me, but that don't define me. If you ask me what I am, then I'm gonna tell you. But if you ask me to associate or simulate. I'm not going to simulate, but I can associate. So because that's where some people at. Some people can't think outside their boxes. So to communicate with them, you got to use terminology and language that identifies into the with the box. That's just
Man.
how you got to communicate. And sometimes you can teach people it's okay to come outside that box. It's okay to create your own box. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
It's okay to do that too. You know, some people don't even try to create their own box. I think that's better than putting yourself in an already created box is to create your own. Like Bruce Lee said, be like water, man.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think because we are told to limit our expectations. We don't have a broader horizon of limitlessness on what we can become. And I think that's the main reason why we don't have expectations of ourselves, because like you said, if we are in a dot of understanding what we should expect of ourselves, we ain't gonna see outside of that dot. But if you turn that dot into a circle, and if you stretch that circle into a box, and then you turn it into a rectangle, or even if you just cut it off, you have room of growth. But because of where society is trying to place a lot of us, and we are settling for it, we're not expecting brand new horizon. We're accepting what's being given to us, and I think that's where expectation is being hindered and not allowed to grow within ourselves.
Yeah, it's boxes, bro. You know, and most people don't even understand the box they're in, bro. That's the problem. Because if they understood it, they'd get the fuck up out of it. That's what
And
I'm gonna talk about astrology, bro. That's a box too, man. I'm gonna talk about that soon. I'm creating that show. We'll have a live. I'm gonna let people come up and rap or whatever.
y'all stay tuned for that, man. I mean,
But
I
this gonna be
know
one of them things like I wouldn't try to debate me, bro. I ain't gonna be nice about it. I'm gonna give
I'm
you
not.
that
I'm not debating nothing because, like I said, I believe, like I like even with that, because if we are told one thing, we're gonna run with it, right? I believe, there's duality in everybody. Now we know the Gemini is supposed to be a duality situation, right? That doesn't limit that duality into a Taurus or a Libra or Aquarius. It doesn't limit it there. But because you are told that's what it is, you don't take the time to observe it in everybody else. So that's what they say goes. That's an expectation that people want to limit to another person. But your expectations could be broader if you take the time to understand what's going on around you. But because it seems like we are closing our mind to what to learn, we're gonna stick to what was being said instead of following what we could learn and grow and to know. That's just me though.
and this is the problem. And in my opinion, this is the problem with limiting yourself to understanding. You know, like you can't know everything, right? But just to limit yourself to understanding, accepting, understanding as the truth of all, then that's how people get manipulated and taken advantage of. Because understanding is just basic awareness or something. But if you think your awareness is the end all be all of that subject, then that's where most people get lost in the sauce. It's the people who know. It's the people who understand that manipulate and create situations out of those subjects. They can gain from it. It's the people who understand who use it. It's the
I,
people who understand who follow. So it's like that's why I say I like leaders around me, bro. It's cool to have people follow. I ain't saying nothing wrong with neither phase, but I'm just saying like, what are you? You know what I'm saying? Are you
yeah.
an inner or
Hmm.
outer? A leader or a general? You know, and the generals still lead. You know, but they got a captain above them.
And even with you saying all of that, this is why, I talk about elevation and growth and all of those things, right? Because there's always room to grow. But if you continue to stunt your growth, if you continue to stunt your expectation of yourself, you're not going to see the forest from the trees. And this is what, we continuously speak about, whether it's you in the development of understanding whatever it is that you're talking about, or just me having a conversation about whatever I'm talking about. The point of the matter is, if you become better, that means you are elevating. If you are trying to become good, you're trying to elevate from a lower point to a higher point. Just like if you become good, you want to be great, there's elevation there. That's all that we're trying to put on display for everybody, that the expectations can be broadened if you want to elevate. But the choice is not mine, the choice is not words, the choice is up to you. This is why we are asking the question, what do you expect from you? What is your expectations of you, yourself, the individual? This is why we have to deep dive. If you want to jump down a rabbit hole to find yourself, please do that. If you need to fast to find your spiritual self, please do that. Whatever it is that's going to help you to grow and elevate the expectations of yourself, we are recommending that you do it, because as the 9% would say, a better you is a better us. If you become better, we become better, because what we're saying is correct, and we're not here to take the credit. We just want you to understand that the correction is available for you.
Yeah, man. You know what I say, bro. You want better, you got to do better. When you do better, you get better. That's just what it is.
And,
So
and
I mean, focus on you. That's all you got to do. So just focus on you. Build your ability. You know that will elevate your expectations and so build your self esteem, build your resilience. Because all these are tools, man. You apply them. You don't got to live them, turn them on all the time. You just got to apply them when they need it. You know, this is how you enjoy life better, man. That's all we can say. You know, the less shit you in, the less shit you gotta clean up, bro. That's all
yeah,
it is.
if you put the nonsense where it belongs, there's not much for you to clean up. That's what he's pretty much telling y'all. If you know you go to the bathroom, you go to the bathroom. If you go outside of the bathroom, you got to clean yourself up. There's no toilet to flush it down. You got to go put it back in the bathroom and flush it. That's why we're telling you, you got to be where you need to be, not where you want to be. Be where you need to be, but you must understand what you need. Before you must have expectations of your need of improving yourself before all of this is possible. But it all starts with your thought. Now, logical thinkers say it's nothing worse than a person trying to live out the characteristics of their sign. And that's what I'm saying, because I use Gemini for
Yeah,
a reason, right? Because I ask people all the time, I'm a Gemini. Would you know that by the way I carry myself? You wouldn't know that. And that's because that's just a thought process. It doesn't have to be your end all be all, right? I could be smooth and calm and collected, but of course, just like anybody else, if you ruffle somebody's feathers, you're gonna see that other side of a person. That's just well, I can't say common sense, because common sense ain't even common anymore. But that's just the understanding of what happens when you ruffle somebody's feather. A Taurus is supposed to be stubborn all the time. If you stubborn, where are you compromising at? You see what I'm saying? That there's a duality to everything. But if you only go with what the people telling you, you're going to expect something that's not even warranted, because somebody told you to expect it, and that's not even necessarily what that individual is. This is why you have to have your own mind. That's why you got to renew your mind and have a broadened horizons of expectation. Because if you go by what you know, or what you think you know, or what you, well, let me say it like this: if you go by what you believe, you're not going to know the actual outcome of a situation.
common sense is a myth, man. in
that
2025.
that's what
Man,
I'm
bro,
saying.
it's just people just weird, bro. Like tonight, bro, I'm going in. I was gonna go in last night, but nah, 'cause it's weird how man can they associate themselves with women, man. How they do the pros and cons of being a man, being a woman. I don't compare myself to women. I didn't grow up around dudes who compare themselves to women. These dudes, I'm better than women because I'm stronger. Like I can do this and you can't. I'm looking like there's so much stuff happening in that scenario situation with these talks that is going over people's heads. Like, first of all, what the hell is you comparing yourself to a woman? Women are women, men are men, bro. That's just what it is. You know, we men are good at one thing, effective and efficient at something on a general scale. Women are effective and efficient on other things on a general scale. But then you have them anomalies. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So you can't discount that aspect of the man and woman differences or similarities. But at the end of the day, man, men are men, women are women. You
Liz
know, I'm not
B,
about to
good
sit here and
afternoon.
compare myself. I am not about to sit here and compare myself to no woman, man. Because when you do so, I mean, to me, it's like men subject themselves to women, women subject themselves to men when they do that.
And that's
You
just
know,
crazy. That don't even make sense. They just projecting their expectation on somebody instead of them
man.
having a logical observation. They just have a thought process.
Like I don't expect women to do a lot of things men do, but when I see them do it, I'd be like, damn, that's dope. You know, and that's all it is. It's like, damn, that's dope.
Because
You know,
here's the thing. I ain't mean to cut you off, right? You may not expect that woman to do a man thing. So here's the question: would you step down and take the role that that woman would take if she's doing what the man do? This is why I'm saying
is she better
the
at it?
but
It's
that's
about
but
better.
men but
It's
that's what
about
I'm saying. Their expectation of a situation
that's
is
ignorance, bro.
hogwash. Right, it's hogwash
E-
because you
Expectations
somebody
can lead.
told you that's what you're not supposed to do, right? Now I'm not trying to be funny and I'm not trying to, if a woman makes $100,000 and she's doing everything that she's doing as the breadwinner. Is a man gonna be comfortable enough to sit back and do the womanly duties? Could he take a step back and be logical instead of being emotional and fulfill the duties of taking care of the home and all of that? Probably not, because they've been programmed a certain way. But if you take the expectation of the goal being fulfilled, you shouldn't have that problem. But there's a lot
But
of people that's programmed in a different format, and that's why these guys are feeling the way they feeling about some women.
see that was the whole key word is program and words create expectations. We just talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
So even in terminology, like the way you said it, doing a woman's duty. It's not a woman's duty to do anything. You know, like these whole male and female roles, like this is reality, bro. Everybody effective and efficient in different things. And if I link up with somebody who's more effective and efficient in one area, and that's considered a masculine area, if they better at it, they better at it, bro. Only thing I can do is learn from them. Just reality, right? That's just reality. I know a girl, she was a better carpenter than me. I learned from her. She taught me some of her tricks and shit. So I know how to cut drywall better because of her. I use her technique.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
even from that aspect, okay, it was other things I did way better because, I might have been stronger, so I was able to make it easier and stuff. But her cutting drywall is a bad motherfucker, bro. Bad
And,
motherfucker. I'm talking about designing it, the way she frame it and mold it, the way she do drywall. I used her techniques.
and like I said, because they have that programmed into their mind, the expect that you're not expecting that woman to be as qualified for that position as a man. It shouldn't matter if it's equal is equal. If you think like the fact that we don't have expectations of somebody helping us alone because we're independent and individuals is something that's been taken way out of context, right? Well, not the individual part, the independent part I can't stand because that made people just that just ran amok. But if you don't have an expectation that you like, people have a problem that people expect to lose their individuality when they work with a group, right? That's why
Hmm.
people don't want to come and work together because you're expecting, I don't know how, that you're going to lose your individuality working with a bunch of like-minded people. I think it should enhance your individuality or add to it, but because their expectation has been told otherwise, they're afraid to do it. And I think that hurts a lot more people than it does helping people. This is why, you know, people turn a simple get along to a contest, and now they want to compete against other people instead of looking at the goal and working towards the same goal. I rather do it my way than your way. It shouldn't be that way, but because the way society is, they turn your expectation that you lose your individuality in a group. This is why we have a lot of discommunication as it is, or miscommunication that we already have.
People like you said, the expectations. That's why I say an open expectation. Be open minded, bro, and just see things for what they are. Accept
Mhm.
reality for what it is, bro. Some people like that. But even the word play, the word concept. That's how that's what we do affirmations to cleanse all that to deprogram. But you got to be careful of like word construction too, like because like that's how people are programmed, bro. It's through expectations of wordplay.
Mm.
The words laid out. So even saying um, like when we say come together, most people associate that with losing self. When you come together with something, you lose self. You know, um, that's why most people in relationships still trying to be individuals.
That's why they won't submit.
Yeah, and see you even using that term, like you submit what like I wouldn't even use that. I don't even like I use it because I understand it. But like having conversations, like when I'm trying to convey a message, I don't use the term submit to one another. Like when I'm talking like when I'm coaching couples, I don't use the term submit. I use incorporate,
Yeah, cause
merge.
yeah,
You
cause
know what I'm
I
saying? I use those
yeah.
that terminology because when you say submit, some automatic people the first thing people think is sacrificing. Like submit is
Lesson.
synonymous
Yeah,
with
you losing
sacrificing.
yourself. And
It's,
that we had that conversation all around, whether
yeah,
it's sacrifice. I did a whole lot on submitting myself. Like I broke it down like sub admit. I did everything possible to show that it's not the way that you guys are projecting it. If you take your time and observe what it is, if you really submit, your expectation is you're going to get to the goal that you're trying to get to in that relationship. But I had that conversation already. If you got the time, you guys take a look back at what I was saying about the word submit. And if I'm wrong, please tell me that I'm wrong, and we can have that conversation. We can bring that topic back up. We can speak about it, like I said, if you're willing to learn, you're willing to grow. So if you could help me, I'll be willing to take the assistance because, like I said, I'm willing to grow, and if you can make me better, I would be very very appreciative of that happening. But you gotta have that. You gotta have the time to take the word, break it down, build it back up, and make it make sense. As Word would say, you got to put it in its proper context. I'm saying if you put it where it needs to be, you ain't got to worry about the anything but the responsibility of the word that we're talking about, whether it's submitting the expectations or whatever. You will understand the word if you break it down, build it back up, and make it make sense for you, not the way the world has it.
and then just understanding the process of thinking too. When you understand that how people consume information, then you understand, and that's why I like when you break the words down because it's education. You know what I'm saying? Um, it's giving people a deeper perspective of how to look at the or utilize the word, or because words have definition and then words have meaning. The meaning of a word is how it's associated to a person. So that's through an emotional bias
Mm.
versus the definition of the word. So, man, you might be having a conversation, and I may be speaking about the definition, and you thinking about the meaning.
And that's why I left this example right here. The expect, what you expect is the verb, the expectation becomes the noun. And when you add those two things together, you could understand what is being said about expecting expectation to work for you. You gotta put that expect you gotta make the expectation, but you must expect that action to elevate into that expectation, if that makes sense. Like I said, that's why I left it up there so you can read it and understand it. We know verbs is an action word. We know noun is a person, place, or thing. They must coexist in order for this particular word expectation to be established within your life.
And that was dope, bro. I know you got to end them too, so I appreciate you having me up. I apologize for being late,
No,
bro,
I
but
don't even listen.
hey,
Don't even. It doesn't even matter because, like I said, when you come through, you give a different perspective. You add to the situation. You don't take away from it. This is why we coexist. We also are showing that two individuals can work together to get to the proper goal. As a logical thinker said, iron sharpens iron. We are sharpening each other, and we're trying to sharpen those that, it may sound rude, that may have dullness in their iron. We're trying to sharpen them up as well, because as you would say, and that's how we're going to end this: a better you is a better us. And with that being said, like I said, I appreciate my 33 brother coming up to add to the conversation. Y'all stay tuned because he's gonna have he gonna have a conversation about the astrologies coming up. We know we miss him, but we want him to be well enough, because when he adds, he's not taking away, he's multiplying to us instead of subtracting. I appreciate you, my 33 brother. And with that being said, I appreciate it. Oh, he came back. I don't know what just happened. Go
to
ahead.
Liz B, man. What up, though, Liz? Appreciate you, sir.
Yeah, so I appreciate everybody coming through. I don't. You have any last words?
Nah, man, y'all be smooth, bro. Y'all be
I
smooth, man.
we'll catch up with our 33 brother. He's coming back soon. Like I said, he's been taking care of himself, getting himself together. But we know when he come back, he's gonna add and multiply to us with some words of understanding, some words of encouragement and improvement. And that's why I appreciate the 33 brother. I appreciate the ideas and logic. And that's what we need. We need people that can pour into us, that can expand our expectations of ourselves. Because when we expand, we become better. There's a broad horizon. And I think that every one of us that are here, that wants it or need, well, the ones that need it, this will help you a lot. If you want it, take your time to decipher it, and hopefully what you want, it turns into a need, and you apply this. If it works for you, it's not me being right, it's not word being right, it's about the understanding, the observation, the message being right. I don't want to take credit. I want you to take credit because you are trying to improve yourself. You are expanding your expectations of yourself. No one should have greater expectations of you than you. And when you understand that, the sky is going to be a limit. It's going to be the limit for you. So, with that being said, I appreciate everybody coming through. I appreciate everybody comments because you have added to the conversation as well. And with that being said, I will see you guys soon. Y'all take care. Y'all have the rest of the good day. Y'all have a great day today.